Hi.
Hi, Bang Omar. Hello, Andy. How are
Hi,
you?
Sarah. Good, thank
You
you.
are introducing me. I'm Farah from Pak Sandi's team.
It's so nice to have a team arranging everything. I usually
No,
do this.
we are now like a friend,
Okay.
or maybe student, something like that.
We're all students.
Pak Sandi, our mentor, and then we just actually. Uh, I would like to inform that probably Pak Indra would like to join also, Bang Omar,
Great.
your
Great.
cousin.
Indra is Sandy's older brother, Andy. Indra was
Oh.
the person who poisoned me into trail running and ultra running.
Awesome.
So I was living a normal life until these people showed up and convinced
Corrupted
me
your
to do
life.
corrupted.
I think the host is Radit, also runner
Oh yeah.
from
Oh great.
Sandi's team. Also, is Radit inside here? Where is
Yeah,
she?
Radit camera is off.
All right then. Thank you, Radit, for joining us. Well, Pak Sandi is
Radit.
joining right now at the moment.
All right. Radit, apa
Oke,
kabar?
oh Bima yang lagi tugas ya? Oke,
Halo Mas
Bim.
Omar.
Hi.
Sorry guys.
Hey Sandy.
Thank you. Sorry, Bima ketiduran.
Oke, Pak. The floor is Bang Omar's.
Bang
Please.
Omar, sorry. We biked for 60 kilometers this morning and ran for another.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yang ketiduran bukan gua, malah Bima yang ketiduran.
Sabar ya, Bim.
Sandy.
Bimanya udah tidur lagi
All
balik.
right then. Bang Omar, please let's start.
Okay, let me know when we go live.
Thank you very much. Yeah, bye.
Hey Andy, how are you?
Good, thank you. And you?
Here to learn a lot from you.
Hopefully you can.
You're getting free coaching here today, Sandy. Okay, I'm gonna open the session. First of all, guys, thank you so much for doing this call. This is something that is close to my heart, talking about mental strength. I'm very pleased and I'm very excited that we have two respected people in their field to speak about mental strength. So the thing is, we're talking about mental strengths and there are no psychologists in this panel. So we're going to speak about our own experiences. We're going to speak about realities and not theories. We're going to speak about our journeys. We're going to speak from the heart. This is what I think that we should be doing today. And before we start, I would like to wish the three dads here happy Father's Day.
Thank you,
We're all
Omar.
dads. We're all trying to be great dads, and today is Father's Day. All right, I'm going to start by introducing our panel today. First of all is Andy Dubois. Andy Dubois is from Mile 27 Coaching, and he is the world-leading endurance and endurance sports coach. He is a 9-time Ironman and an ultra marathon runner, and he trains the world's best. My relationship with Andy started a year ago when he graciously accepted me to be somebody that he will coach. So Andy usually coaches professional athletes, and I had to convince Andy to be my coach because I told him about my dream, which I have trouble explaining, to run 250 kilometers across the Sahara Desert, which has been postponed this year due to COVID. And Andy has been my coach for the past 1 year, and Andy has literally run my physical life. Andy gives me assignments on the app, and I just follow the assignment, and there's a compliance board there if I actually do my run assignments or not. The second person, Bapak Sandiaga Uno. If you're an Indonesian, this person needs no introduction. Everybody knows him as the Indonesian vice presidential candidate last year. Everybody knows him as a successful businessman. And because of his fantastic great looks, the media circle and the political spin doctors call him the anti-killer. So that's Sandy. I know Pak Sandy is a strong runner. I have experienced that running alongside Pak Sandy requires an immense physical amount of training to keep up because he runs very fast. And Sandy is recently, his new achievement is recently a world record holder, and I'll let him elaborate and explain what record he broke. This happened during the recent campaign. So we're very blessed today to spend our Sunday talking personally and learning from these people who can teach us about something very valuable to our lives, which is our mental strength. So first of all, I'd like to ask maybe Pak Sandy to tell us about yourself and what sports mean to you. And I'll ask the same question to Andy after Pak Sandy is finished. So tell us about yourself, Pak Sandy, and what does sports mean to you?
Well, thank you, Omar, for inviting me to this chat about mental strength. And I'd like to welcome those who join by way of Facebook Live and other social media outlets. It is a privilege and an honor to be in the same panel with Andy and you, Omar, who I have to explain is my cousin. Omar's mom and my mom are sisters, and maybe we have the same gene from our moms, and we like to torture ourselves. So
it's a handicap. It's a handicap.
I pick up endurance sports early on, mainly running, and then later on swimming. My weakest sport in that triathlon, and now my training for the Ironman is bicycle. So the what sports means to me, basically it teach me more on my skills particularly in private equity. My old job. I left private equity business in 2015 when I joined politics, but sports actually taught me on preparations that in order for you to be able to succeed in whatever race that you're joining, that you have to really put up a very good preparations, a very good training. And that's similar to private equity, whereby people would need to do due diligence, really do a background check, do modeling, and financial forecasting in order to get above average market return. And this is what I pick up also from sports. Secondly, Omar, I learned about speed, that although you may be slow compared to your other peers, but you are on a consistent improvement program to beat your personal best. So that taught me on how to continue to take decisions and execute it on a expedited manner. And third, I learned sports because it taught me also for teamwork, because you may be running your own race, like a marathon or triathlon, but actually it takes a team. My wife prepare for my meals at night. You need to delegate some of the house chores to your maybe my daughters, and this is something that I learned, that it's a teamwork. My team also prepare to train with me, to motivate me. So it's not, even though you maybe running your race by yourself, but it's actually a team effort behind it. And finally, it's endurance. People in private equity are judged by how much X, 3 or 4X of their investments returns. But a lot of people follow another metrics, which is that how many years have you produced those type of returns? If it's just over one cycle of 8 years, it doesn't count. But we have, in my previous business, I managed to put above average return, above market return for our investors in a period of 20 years. So that's that consists of 3 cycles, which is probably not as long as other investors, but it would qualify us to be able to deliver a very consistent good returns to our investors. So that's what sports means to me, Omar. I'm a novice compared to you and Andy because I'm just training for my first full Ironman. I've done a couple of half Ironman, but like today, this morning, we were training to. It's really hot here in Jakarta, and it's tough to train for in this type of weather. But it's something that now become part of my routines. Thanks, Omar.
Great. Well, this is actually a good chance because I got Andy and he's not paid to speak today, so you're gonna get free coaching tips today from Andy. Are you on with that, Andy?
Very valuable coaching.
What about you, Andy? So what does sports mean to you?
Yeah, look, I've been running my whole life. I ran as a kid when I was 5 years old. I never really stopped running at all. But it wasn't until probably when I was 20 at university, I saw the Hawaiian Ironman on TV.
Andy? Oops, have a glitch here.
Andy's maybe low on his bandwidth, network bandwidth.
Okay, all right. In the meantime, I'll ask some questions to you. Oh, Andy, are you there?
Yep.
Sorry, you got cut off for a while. You were telling us about your running in university.
Yeah, so I saw the Hawaiian Ironman on TV in 1989 and was a bit lost at the time in terms of what I wanted to do with my life. But I saw that and thought, that's what I want to do. So yeah, I virtually quit drinking and got a coach within a week of seeing that. And within 2 years, I'd done my first Ironman, starting from nothing. I hadn't swum since a kid at school, had never ridden a bike more than just for fun. So yeah, 2 years later, I did my first Ironman, and then it was a 5-year journey before I finally qualified for Hawaii. So that really taught me the kind of persistence and endurance and determination can get you where you want to go. And if you give up too soon, if you have a go at something and you fail or you don't quite meet your target, then you're selling yourself short unless you can think about, is this really what I want to do? And for me, I missed out. First year, missed out qualifying. Second year, missed out qualifying. Third year, missed out qualifying. Fourth year, for a whole lot of reasons. But for me, it just made me more determined to go back and find a way to qualify. And that, I think, has rubbed off for the rest of my life. It's now something that's ingrained in me, that it's taught me that no matter what, if you truly believe that something is achievable, then don't stop until you've done it. Work out how you can do that, get the help you need, and keep persisting until you get there. So really, sport is my life. I mean, I'm a full-time coach. I still try and race in ultras regularly. My life is sport. I coach all day. If I'm not coaching, I'm running. If I'm not doing that, I'm playing, running with my family, hiking with my family. So to me, it's given my whole life a focus, and it's defined my life since the Ironman.
Great story. You know, I hear this same theme about people doing it over and over and over again, and they just don't give up. So, Pak Sandy, you actually said something interesting, that you said that you got from private equity to give you the thing in sports. So you're like the reverse kind of guy. But in real life, you know, what have sports given to you in real life? You know, now that you're regularly in sports, you know, what has sports given to you in real life?
Oh, immensely, Omar. I think last year was a very tough year, on a typical year for me. It was the presidential elections, and uh, you know, I went crisscrossing the country, 1,600 constituents visits over a period of 6 months. Well, the tough because we lost the election, but it's sports has taught me really that and given me this not only the physical strength but the mental strength. At times, and typically in a day, you would start very early in the morning, like 5-ish a.m. with your first constituents visits, and then you finish very late at around 8 or 9. Sports has given me the mental strength to endure. I mean, if you're running a road shows, trying to fundraise, you are, you know, probably max doing 6 to 8 meetings a day. In politics, you are actually doing double that, saying similar things from one event to another event, and the mental strength allow you to actually continue the journey, because at a particular moment you felt very tired and you just want to stop. But being in those races said that you would not if you stop, you are not going to be able to finish, and if you're not going to be able to finish, you're not going to collect the medal. uh, so the discipline, so mental strength, the discipline I got also from sports. And Andy mentioned about persistence, and this is something that you know, Indonesia is a very big country, 267 million, 270 million people populations, and if you want to really contribute back to your country, you need to be able to continue to pound and add the mileage, meeting the people, listening to them, and that persistence I got also from sports. So yeah, I've been able to went through that 1,600 constituents visits, which is actually beat my own record when I ran for at the Jakarta governor elections. I did 1,270 constituents visits, but that's just Jakarta. This is across the country, and I think had it not for sports, I wouldn't be able to complete the journey.
Thank you, Masandi. And I saw some parts of you doing both campaigns, and I was a bit confused. Is he doing an Olympic campaign or is he doing a political campaign? Because they were similar. Physically, you were doing lots of crazy things. So I hear that this 1,600 visits in 6 months is a world record. Somebody's keeping the tab. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Congratulations.
Actually, organizations that keep track for those type of things. And why it looks like an Olympic, because I try to make it, for instance, like millennials, they don't really like to attend political rallies. They like to attend sports events. So we in the morning have a 10K that in a particular city. whereby we invite people to come in, and some completed the 10K, some just come there for sort of like the line dancing and stuff like that. So yeah, we mix and match. We don't talk all about politics, and sometimes it's sports. And actually, sports is a true universal language whereby it cross political barriers, and I think it's something that we need to embrace as Indonesians, because it's large countries. But in terms of gold medals in Olympics, we need to learn from Andy's country, because it's much smaller country, but they're producing more gold medals. So I think here we need to also hear from Andy what type of regimen needs to take, because Indonesia is aspiring to be to be the Olympic host in 2032. So we need to beef up our strength. We don't want to be the host and not win any gold medal.
Yeah, it's I think from an Olympic point of view, I mean, where Australia has done really well over the last 20, 30, 40 years now is identifying strengths, athletes, and the sports they're going to be good at a young age. So we test people, you know, when they're 13, 14, 15 years old, even younger for some sports, the swimming and gymnastics, even younger. Identify who's potentially going to do very well, and then give them all the tools they possibly need to drag them from basically obscurity into world champions. And Australia also, we know our strengths. We don't spend a lot of money on sports we're not good at. So, for example, athletics, we don't have a strong, we've got a few good runners, but compared to, say, something like swimming, where we've got, you know, we often win tons of gold medals in swimming. So we know our strengths, and we spend a lot of money on developing our strengths and identifying them at an early age. So, and we particularly did that for the Sydney Olympics. Obviously, your home Olympics, you want to perform well at. So I think, you know, before that Olympics, you know, 8 to 10 years before that Olympics, when Sydney was a thought, we started looking at where can we get gold medalists from? Who's potentially got the physical and mental characteristics that we can give the right training to take them from where they are now, which might be state level or national level, into international gold medal winners. So it's a long process that you can't just, you know, take an athlete 1 year later and make them Olympic gold medal. You've got to start back at a younger age and give them enough time to develop the skills, both mentally and physically, to get them to the point where they can challenge for a gold medal.
Thank you, Andy. So do you have some inspiring stories about these people that you want to share?
Yeah, look, I think
about these athletes, or it doesn't have to be Olympic athletes, or the athletes that you train. Do you have inspiring stories about these guys?
Yeah, look, I think with any sport, I mean, I know for me, for my journey for Ironman, it would have been easy to give up after 1 or 2 years. I mean, to get to Hawaii, as you know, listeners might know, you have to qualify. You have to do a certain time and achieve that cutoff time to get to go to Hawaii. So the first time I did it, I missed out by half an hour, which I thought my first go was pretty acceptable. I didn't expect to qualify my first time. But then my second time, I thought I'm better trained now. I've got a good chance of qualifying. And then about halfway through the bike leg, the seat, the post, the little bolt that holds your seat onto your seat post snapped at about 60k into the bike ride. So 1 minute I'm cycling, next minute the seat fell off. So I fell off, and next minute I'm sliding on my back along the road going, what the hell has just happened? Picked myself up, and obviously my bike, I couldn't ride with no seat. Cut a long story short, a spares van came along. They gave me a new seat. I lost an hour of time. Qualifying was done that day. Finished the race, but couldn't qualify. So I went back, trained harder, came back the third year. And then the day before the race, I got bitten by wasps 5 times on my arm, and I'm hypersensitive to insect bites. So it stung a bit. I thought, oh, here we go. But I'll start the race and see what happens. I came out of the swim leg, and my arm was the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was like swollen up, massive. I thought, that's okay. I don't have to use it anymore. I can just ride a bike and run. But about 3/4 of the way through the bike leg, all the toxins had gone into my heart and lungs and head, and I was feeling dizzy and nauseous and like lightheaded, and finished the bike leg and started running, and it got worse to the point where I was starting to kind of stagger a bit. I slowed down to a walk. It didn't feel too bad walking, so I walked and finished the race, and I think I did 6 hours 50 for the run leg. It was important to me to finish the race, so I trained all year for that race. So I thought, look, I don't care. I'm just going to finish it, see what I can learn from that, like apply that mental strength just to going, well, I'm not injuring myself. I'm not putting my health at risk. So I may as well just finish it and take some lessons from the mental strength required to do that. The 4th year, I had a great race. My run time went from 6 hours 50 to 3 hours 15. I ran a time, I think I did 9:40, and that time would have qualified me for every single year since the race had started, except this year when we had a whole swag of international competitors came and they took the spots. So I went back for the 5th year. Then the 5th year I got off the bike. And I knew I had to run fast. My bike was okay, but I wasn't a great bike rider, and I knew I had to run as close to 3 hours as I possibly could to qualify. And I ran 3:03 and just got into qualifying. So I think for me, and all the good athletes that I see, all the good athletes that I coach, they've got similar stories. They never give up. No matter what happens, you never give up. You find a way either in that race to keep going and do the best you can, or you finish the race, you put it behind you, you don't dwell on it, you don't go, oh, woe is me, like, well, why did this happen to me? No, it's not meant to happen. And you hear this with the Olympics. You hear people who missed out qualifying for the Olympics. And for me, I could qualify next year. I could try again next year. But when it's Olympics, it's 4 years' time. They have to go back and try again for 4 years and try and get back to peak fitness for their qualifying in 4 years' time. But those that do are the ones that have got 4 years of just that extreme determination at saying, I'm going to do this. So I think what you'll find with any good athlete, whether they're Ironman, ultra distance runner, swimmer, cyclist, whatever, the thing you'll find in common is a determination that goes beyond what most people have in their minds, a mental toughness that goes beyond that. And I think that applies to trying to run for politics. You know, you're out there with all those meetings. I can't imagine doing that many meetings in a day for day after day after day, week after week after week. It's mind-blowing, but it's that determination you have to want to achieve what you want to achieve, that this is what you have to do. Like, I know for me, for Ironman, I was training 30, 35 hours a week, up at 5 o'clock in the morning, hit the pool for an hour and a half, ride a bike for 4 or 5 hours, run for 2 or 3 hours, day in, day out, you know, but that's just what had to be done to get where I needed to go. And I think that story will be the same whether you talk to Olympic cyclists, swimmers, you know, any sport at all. You find that that's what they need to do. And you have to have that, both the determination to do it, the belief in yourself that it's possible without being arrogant and pig-headed about it. You can't be overconfident. You have to say, well, it is possible, but only if I put the work in. If I don't put the work in, it's never going to happen. And the belief just to keep going day after day, no matter what happens. Like, you don't feel good every day. You don't get up in the morning and want to have 8 meetings and meet 40 people and talk about the same things every day and feel great about it. You don't get up wanting to swim 5 kilometers in the pool and ride 120 kilometers on the bike and feel great about it every day. But you just get up and do it. You just go, this is what I need to do today. It doesn't matter if I don't love it today, because overall, I love what I'm doing. I love the feeling of getting to where I want to go. But you can't love every day. You've just got to get out there and do it. And if you do it, things will happen. Yeah.
So Andy has spoken about Ironman and his feats in Ironman. I'm going to ask Pak Sandi here 2 questions. One is, Pak Sandi, can you explain what an Ironman is? Second question, which is going to be a tricky one for you to answer. Why have you decided to sign up? I really want to hear this. It's just like, there's a saying that I saw in a poster. You do an ultra run is you do it because you don't have enough bullshit every day. you need more. You need more shit. So maybe you can explain to us these two questions. What is an Ironman, and why have you decided to sign up?
So my last half Ironman. Well, first of all, Ironman. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're asking a novice here, a rookie to an Ironman. But
So you don't know what you signed up for.
I know the distance, how many kilometers I have to swim.
Okay. Tell us about that first.
Okay, an Ironman is a race. There's a combination of three disciplines. First is swimming. So you start typically an Ironman race starts at 7 a.m. You complete 3.8 kilometers of swim. Correct, Andy?
Yep.
3.8 kilometers of swim, and then you are allowed to have a transitions of around maybe a good Ironman like Andy probably do it much faster, but amateur like me would be lucky if I transitions 2 to 3 minutes into our bicycle to ride 180 kilometers on our bicycle and finish 180 kilometers. And right after that, you are then transition into a full marathon of 42 kilometers. So typically, an Ironman, a good athletes like Andy would complete it definitely in a fashion of 9-ish hours or maybe much. World champion is, I don't know the record now, Andy, but
I think it's 7:46 or something.
Oh my gosh.
7:46 for that type of distance. But this is the beauty, Omar. Ironman allow you to finish, the cutoff time is 17 hours. So when you start at 7 a.m. in the morning, you are okay to finish at 12 midnight. So I intend to use every single time that is being made available to me. Anyway, I have nothing. The reasons I sign up. The last half Ironman I did was in 20. Actually, I did half Ironman in Bintan. It was really hot in 2013, 2014, and um, uh, I actually did one Olympic distance race in 2014, and then I went into politics. When you're in politics, your voters and all this netizen will think that I'm wasting taxpayers' money if I do this type of sports. So I stopped. I stopped from 2015 all the way till we lost at elections in 2019. So the first thing I did right after we were officially declared that President Jokowi won the contest is I signed up for a Belitung Olympic distance, which is 40. It's a 1.5 kilometers of 1.5 kilometers of swim, 40 kilometers of bike, and 10 kilometers of run. So I thought that maybe I'll train a little bit, and then I participated. It was quite painful, but I finished it, and I went back to the hotel. When I got into the hotel, somebody called me and said, "Oh, people are calling your name. People are calling your name. You need to receive the prize because you just won." I said, "How can I win? It's just impossible." And I was so surprised, and he said, "Yeah, you won for a category of people above 50 years of age." So I just realized I turned 50 2 days before. But then it sort of like motivated me. I said, well, I'm now into another age group, 50 to 55. And then a good friend of mine have been hassling me, Ingi Quick, who's also a triathlete, saying that if you you're not really a triathlete until you completed an Ironman. So we started making plans, and before COVID, we signed up for Lombok half Ironman, which is now canceled because of COVID, and Baselton Ironman end of the year, which is until now not yet canceled. So we don't know. We are looking forward, but I heard Andy said putting 35 to 40 hours a week. I'm nowhere near that. I think I'm struggling to put even more than 10 hours a week on training. So I got a lot of training to do, I guess, hearing from Andy.
The good thing is you don't have to do 30 to 40 hours a week. The average punter, probably 8 to 12 hours a week is enough to get you through the finish line. Yeah, I was working part-time. I had more free time, and I needed to go, under 9.5. And the only way that was going to happen was to put in 30, 40 hours a week. Yeah.
Congratulations, Andy. And you have now completed 9 Ironman. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So which is Hawaii would be the top pinnacle of an Ironman destinations in the world now?
Yeah, Hawaii's the unofficial world championship. It's the race that once you've done an Ironman, if you want to do the Ironman, then Hawaii's the Ironman to do. Yeah, definitely.
And you've done twice, Andy.
Sorry?
And you've done twice, I hear?
Yeah, twice, yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
The funny thing was, I did it once and did 10 hours, 24 minutes and 58 seconds. And then I went back 2 years later and did 10 hours, 24 minutes and 54 seconds. 4 seconds faster.
It's achievement.
It's a PB. It's a PB. It was fine.
It's a PB. So I want to ask this question, Andy. Why do people do these very demanding things? Because I have a personal issue, because my parents are watching this.
Oh, I got to be very careful now.
And I struggle to answer to them, why am I going to attempt to run 250 kilometers across the Sahara? Because they ask me why, and I still don't really understand why. I'm still trying to figure out why. But Andy, you've been training a lot of these people to do these difficult things. Why do you think they do it?
I think different people have different reasons, but one common factor I find with a lot of people is that life is pretty, well, until COVID hit, life's pretty predetermined. Like, you get up in the morning and you pretty well know how your day is going to go. You're going to have breakfast, you're going to have lunch, you're going to have dinner. That night, you're going to be back in your own bed. Like, the day might throw a few little surprises here and there, but pretty much day by day, week by week, life's pretty predetermined in a way. Whereas in an ultra and in an Ironman, when you start that race, you have no idea what's going to happen. Like, you just don't know. Particularly, even more so in an ultra, because though in an Ironman you're out there all day, in an ultra, particularly once you start talking either multi-days or say 100-mile race, which can take 20, 24, 30, 36, 40, 48 hours, you can start at 6 a.m, and at lunchtime you'll be running, at dinner time you'll be running, at evening time you'll still be running, at breakfast time next morning you're still running, lunchtime next day you're still running. It takes away life as we know it and simplifies it down to something very, very simple. I just have to run. But it gives you a sense of adventure because you don't know what's going to happen. And I think in our lives, we don't really get that sense of adventure. That as a kid, you can go out and play in a park and everything's a big adventure. I've got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and everything's a sense of adventure. They build cubby houses out of cushions and pillows and sheets and go outside and play in creeks. Every day's, who knows what they're going to do per day. Yeah. But in our lives, we get up, we go to work, we come home. It's pretty much, not to say it's mundane, because we strive to get the most out of life we can, but it's pretty much, we know what's going to happen. But in an Ironman and in an ultra, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how we're going to feel. We don't know those mental highs and lows you get in a race. You don't really get in real life. You get that when you have a child, when you get married, maybe when you win an election or lose an election, the highs and lows. We don't really get those big highs and lows too often in real life than we get in an Ironman or an ultra. We can feel really, really bad, and then we can feel fantastic. And those types of feelings, once you've had a little taste of it, it's hard to give up because the highs are such a buzz. I mean, I remember finishing my first Ironman or qualifying or running down the finish chute for Hawaii or running down the finish chute in Chamonix for Ultra Trail Mont Blanc. And the buzz that you get for doing that is just an amazing buzz that's only rivaled for me personally by the birth of my kids and my wedding day. Nothing else comes close to the buzzes I got from doing those events. But within those events, you have such low points. And if you didn't have those low points, the high points wouldn't be as high. Like, it's why we do Ironman not doing 10K. Because to do a 10K race, you pretty well know, okay, I'm going to run, 42 to 44 minutes. Like, there's no real surprises there. And you pretty much know how you're going to feel. You're going to start feeling off hard but comfortable. Towards the end, it's going to get really hard. You're going to huff and puff a bit. You're going to finish the race, hands on knees, catch your breath. 5 minutes later, you're fine. That's fine if that's what you want to do. I'm not trying to take anything away from 10K runners, but you don't get the sense of adventure that an Ironman or an ultra gives you, because you don't get the highs and lows in a race like that because it's just too short. So I think for a lot of us, we're looking for a sense of adventure. We're looking for those big highs that we don't get a lot of in our normal day life.
So Andy, looking at, you said adventures, like kids. So I get that me and Sandy have actually not grown up. So we're still kids. Do you agree with that? Sandy?
Yeah,
we haven't matured. We're still kids inside.
And I think that's great.
Is that the reason? So I could tell my mom, it's easier to explain that, Mom, I haven't grown up. And I'm stuck in 14.
Yeah. And I think too many of us lose that kind of sense of adventure we have when we're kids, that everything's fun, everything's different, everything's new.
Yeah.
And we just lose that as we grow older. And I think one way of tapping back into that is to do these kind of races, because it is an adventure. We don't know what's going to happen. We put ourselves out there, we put ourselves on the start line and just commit to the process. And we just try and enjoy the journey and go with wherever it takes us. And I think we don't often do that in the rest of our lives. And for people like us, that's what kind of gives us that sense of freedom and sense of adventure that we just don't get elsewhere.
So I'm going to ask Sandy, you have any comments about this, about adventures and seeing this as an adventure? How do you see your life as an adventure, Sandy?
Yeah, I 100% agree with Andy. And I would call my life is a one-way ticket. It's basically you're continuously moving. Well, in Islamic concept, it's hijrah, meaning that you are always on the move. You are always on a journey. And basically, this type of races that we commit ourselves in, and there is always this questions lingering. Why would we do it? And typically, it's during the time that we're preparing for a race that we ask ourselves why we wake up very early in the morning while people are just having nice breakfast, sipping coffee, and we're really already out there. But I believe that the journey in and around itself is basically should be viewed as one of the I guess lessons learned and purpose of your life, and I always dedicate a race for something. When I used to run marathons around the world, I would pick a charity that I wanna support, and this is the thing that helps me during the race to think about why I should finish the race, and I guess this is the movement of running and sharing is actually a big motivations for me to join all these races. And again, going back to the mental strength concept is basically all these races prepare yourself for the next sort of like assignment or next sort of battles, next sets of challenges that you're facing in life. And through COVID-19, actually, I learned that we we need to think that we're all in this together, and it's like a race for us to find a vaccine, and we need to support each other. So I guess hopefully all these trainings and the experience doing ultra long distance endurance events will actually inspire us to continue the journey and to think that the adventures eventually lead to meaningful things that will contribute not only to your life but to people around you.
Very well said, Pak Sandy. And I'm glad that someone like you with such a big heart and such mental strength is taking up the mantle to do the things that not a lot of people would probably want to do. Okay, I just want to pull back into sports a bit. Andy was saying about, you have breakfast, you're still running, you have lunch, you're still running, you have dinner, you're still running. I did that. And an Indonesian ultra runner said to me, I asked him during the start line, his name is Hendra Siswanto. I hope he's in this call because I want to credit him to his tip. I asked him, how do you actually survive such a race? Because at the time it was my first 100 miler. And he says, Pa Omar, just make sure you stay happy. So how do I stay happy? I'm suffering, I'm in pain. How do you stay happy? He says, do whatever you can to stay happy, to feed yourself, to always have nutrition. Sorry, Andy, I think you're, Andy?
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, I think your call is not muted. So, and he says just how to stay happy. And he said, eat. So nutrition is important. Just keep making sure you eat well, and then that's how you stay happy. So I want to dive in on this, Andy, because is your mental state of mind is during a race is affected by nutrition, or by would you have tips for me and Sandy to survive in these Ironmans and ultras?
Yeah, look, your mental state is affected by nutrition. If your blood sugar levels go low, typically we call it hangry. I don't know if you have the same term in Indonesia or Singapore. Hangry, it's a cross between hungry and angry.
Okay.
When you get hungry,
I
you
get it
angry.
all the time. I ovulate, so I get hangry all the time.
Hungry man is an angry man.
Hungry.
So you get it. So yeah, definitely if your blood sugar level is low, you will suffer either angry or a mental low. So that's one part of it. But even if you get your nutrition right and you keep nice stable blood sugar levels throughout a race, you still have highs and lows that come in throughout the race. And I think with good mental training, you can minimize the number of lows that you get, and B, stop the depth of lows happening, so not quite as low as you would if you haven't done mental training beforehand. And I think a big part of that is what you said, Omar, before about being happy. And the key thing about being happy is if you're in an Ironman or an ultra and you're thinking about how far there is to go, it's not likely that you're going, yippee, I've got 130 kilometers left on the bike to go and a marathon. Fantastic. You're not likely to be thinking that. So to be happy, you kind of really have to think about where you are right now. And for me, like I know in Hawaii, for example, there were points where I was riding back into town. I'd done 120K. It was 38 degrees. The headwinds was so strong that you couldn't even freewheel downhill because you would be blowing off your bike, basically. So really tough conditions. So I just had to look around and go, but it doesn't matter. I'm in Hawaii. This is what I've dreamed about for 8 years. Straight away, smile on the face, acceptance of what was, just focus on now, let's get through this bit and we're good. So even in that point where, when you have to pedal to ride downhill and when you're holding on to the handlebars to stop yourself from being blown off the road, you can still find a place of happiness just by going, this is what I want it to be. This is what I have trained for. So no matter how hot, how windy, how cold, how bad I feel, this is what I signed up for. So I think the more you can kind of focus on the present moment and find something to be thankful for in that moment, whether that's admiring a view, whether that's sharing, the race with a fellow competitor, whether that's being thankful for actually being in the race in the first place, whether it's admiring a sunset or a sunrise, it doesn't matter. Just finding some way to bring you back to that moment, to find something to be thankful for or happy about, means you stop thinking about how sore your legs are and how far you've got to go and how you've still got another 12 hours to go and you can't possibly keep going for another 12 hours. You've forgotten about that because you're just being present now and thinking about, this is where I need to be right now and I don't want to be anywhere else because this is what I trained for.
Okay. Sandy, we're almost out of time. Do you have any questions to the coach?
Well, I think I have tons of questions, but maybe the simplest one that I want to ask you is, how do you get good sleep before a race? Because right now, I always find that before a big race, I couldn't sleep before. The anxiety, the excitement, and so on and so forth. So how do you deal with the night before the race and be able to get a good rest?
What a great question.
I think there's two parts to that. The first part is accepting that not many people get a good night's sleep before the race. And that doesn't really matter unless you're talking about an ultra that you're going to spend, like for example, in UTMB, it starts at 6:30 at night. And for some people, they will be out Friday night and they'll still be out there Saturday night and they won't finish till Sunday morning. So if they don't have a good sleep Thursday night, then that's 3 nights with virtually no sleep. So that matters. But in terms of an Ironman, when you're going to be finished and in bed by 1 o'clock the next night, if you don't sleep well the night before that race, all the research shows it doesn't matter too much, provided you've had a good night's sleep the rest of the week. So I think we get too worked up on the night before the race thinking, I need to sleep, I need to sleep, I need to sleep. And that process stops you from actually getting your sleep. Whereas if you said, look, it doesn't matter, just rest. It doesn't matter if I don't sleep well tonight. I slept well last night. I'm rested, just lie in bed, read a book if I have to, turn the light off, just close my eyes. If I'm not sleeping well, it doesn't matter. That assumes that the night before you had a good sleep. So as long as you establish a good sleeping pattern in your normal life, then 2 nights before the race, you should be fine. And the night before the race, if you're nervous, if you're just lying in bed, you just can't get to sleep, don't stress. Just accept that as normal. It's fine. And it won't affect you. If you're doing an ultra where you're going to be out for 2 nights in a row, then you've really got to look at your sleep patterns and habits, and think about how you can get a better night's sleep even when stressed. So things like meditation, no screen time, making sure you're rested beforehand, and not too stressed out through. Like, a lot of people will work until Friday morning and then they'll race Saturday, and then Friday they're still stressing about work, so they're lying in bed Friday night making sure, did I tell so and so to do such and such, because I won't be at work on Monday, and their brain's still going like this. You're not going to sleep. So provided you can get your brain to slow down throughout the week, have a good night's sleep Thursday night, Friday night, don't stress. You'll be fine. It won't affect your race.
Well, good, because that really helps, because I think although I did this Mesa Stila 121 kilometers, Omar, last year, I ran alongside Pak Hendra also, and we saw this ultra marathoner. Actually, yeah, you're right. Didn't sleep for 2 to 3 days straight, and they actually kind of look fine. I don't know what's the human limit of not getting any sleep, but yeah, I think that would help a lot. Thank you, Andy.
Any last questions, Mas Andy?
Two days is about the most you can handle without sleep. By the 3rd night, most people are hallucinating and fall asleep while they're running, and it's not pretty.
Sandy, any questions for the coach about other things, or I leave it to you? Should we wrap it up, or?
I'm fine. I'll probably, if I have your email, Andy, and should I have any more questions, I'll shoot you an email, and hope I could get. My goal is to get at least 10 hours a week of, which is not enough, but I was told that it should really be able to let you finish the race. I would be happy if I could get closer to 15. So let's see.
All right. So before I close this,
10's plenty.
10's okay?
Yeah.
Randy? Okay. So before I close this, I want to thank the both of you so much for doing this talk. It's really, really close to my heart about mental strength, and I learned a lot from this session, and I hope people who are watching this also learn something too. And I'm going to pop a trick question. Do you have a favorite quote? I'll start with Andy first, and then I'll ask with Sandy. Is there a favorite quote that you have that you always use as a mantra?
I think it's by T.S. Eliot, and I think it's along the lines of, you don't know what you can achieve until you, I forget the exact wording, but it's along the lines of, you don't know where your limits are until you actually test your limits. I think that's something I've always kind of believed in. Even when I first started, I thought, I don't know if I can do Hawaii, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. And I think whether it's life, business, sport, whatever, you never really know your potential until you put yourself out there and try that. I forget the exact quote, but that's the theme of it anyway.
Sandy, any favorite quotes you want to share?
I always, and this is anonymous because I read it so many times and cannot be attributed to any particular individuals. But the quote goes like, to even I'm not thinking about finishing this race, but to even start this race, it is already an achievement for me. So it's always about starting something and then keep on motivating for you to reach the finish line. Finish what you start. So that's always motivate me in a race, and you always look forward to that starting line and enjoy the journey.
Thank you for sharing that. And if you don't mind, I'll share the quote I saw from a bumper sticker in a truck. It says, "Of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most." So, let's have a bit of humor about it. I think it's still missing, but any case, those of you who are interested in finding more about Andy, it's mile27.co.au. Is that correct, Andy? Is that your website?
.com.au.
And those who are interested with Sandy, you can always ping him on his Facebook page, which you are watching right now, and his Instagram, and yeah, hopefully we can meet up again. And Sandy, good luck on your Ironman, and Andy, good luck on your coaching, and good luck on making sure I get to the finish line first for that race, because I have an injury.
We'll get you
Okay,
there,
guys. We'll get there.
Thank you so much, Omar. It's really
Thanks a lot.
a pleasure, and
Thank
thank you,
you very much,
Andy. Good luck.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
guys who
Sandy.
are joining on the Facebook Live, and keep on running and stay strong, stay healthy. We can get over this COVID-19. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty.
All good?
We're
Good.
still
But
live.
we're still live on Facebook. PB15, can you?
Still live.
We are still live. Mr. PB15, I think, took a nap.
Who's BB15?
I don't know. They and how about Farah? Farah, are you awake? Also not awake. And none of them are training for.
Yes, Pa, we are working on it. We still coordinated that to stop live. Okay, wait. Radit in the house, actually. Hang on.
Okay, Radit.
Is this the Radit that I know, Sandy?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Radit SMP 12?
No.
Oh, not that Radit. Okay.
This Radit is 35 years younger than that Radit.
Okay. But mentally, the other Radit is 10 years younger than this Radit.
This Radit. Okay, we're off the live
right.
Facebook. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
No problems at all. Pleasure.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Andy.
Bye. Bye.
Bye,
See ya.
Sandy. Bye.
Thank you very much, Bang Omar. Take care.
Terima kasih, Mbak. Thank you.
Sama-sama, Bang. Keren.
Thank you, Mas Omar.
Tinggal nunggu.
Thank you.
Ya, Mas Radit, thank you.
Thank you, Mas.
Thank you, Mas Radit.
Ya, bukunya ditunggu berarti. Mental
Buku apa nih?
Strength of buku Ironman.
Oh, iya, nanti aku tulis-tulis ya. Nanti aku akan nulis dalam journey ini. Kita nanti ngobrol lagi. Alright.
Ya, thank you Bang Omar.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Terima kasih Mas Radit.
Thank you.
Bye.